New Vegas is a large game. Considering the size of the map and the amount of content, it does a good job of incentivizing the player to visit most locations and interact with most characters. The main quest presents a path in which the player goes collecting side quests along the way, naturally giving the player multiple chances to get sidetracked with quests that guide them towards different corners of the Mojave and require meeting new characters to complete them. Although there are many minor NPCs that only serve the purpose of adding some flavor and details to the world that are often forgotten. But not by me, because everyone deserves some appreciation. On the road leaving Novak towards the west, the McBride family has a small Brahmin ranch. Around midnight every night, across the train tracks behind the ranch, we can find a lonely nightkin hiding behind some rocks. This unnamed nightkin is responsible for the slaughter of many of the McBride's Brahmins, and they are involved in a simple unmarked quest that revolves around the nightkin coming out to shoot the cattle and hiding back again. But many players never resolve this unmarked quest or even notice the presence of the nightkin because they are invisible and only appear during a specific time. And sometimes bugs out and doesn't even spawn because New Vegas is New Vegas. Which is a shame because this nightkin has some unique lines depending on whatever companion the player has at the time that allude to the conflict of their quest that most people never heard. On the 188 trading post, in a corner of the highway underpass, there is a child with the name The Forecaster sitting alone, surrounded by what appears to be junk with little value to most people. The kid has psychic powers, something that has existed in Fallout since the first century, but that has never been explored with any meaningful depth. By taking off the nullifier he wears for brief periods of time, the kid can use his powers to give forecasts about the events of the Mojave or even the courier themselves. The forecaster has to put the nullifier back on to avoid the intense headaches caused by using his powers, at the cost of losing the capacity of having complex thoughts, and that's why he surrounds himself with junk, to fill his empty mind with the thoughts of other people. On the northern side of the map, following Road 95, behind Brook Tumbleweed Ranch, we can find another invisible unnamed nightkin in the middle of a corral filled with tumbleweeds. If the player gets close enough, the nightkin will reveal themselves and offer to sell the courier all of the wind Brahmin in the corral for an affordable all of the caps in their inventory. If the offer is rejected, the nightkin will turn hostile, and they will make fun of the stupidity of whomever accepts. This nightkin is there to add something to what is one of the emptiest parts of the map and make a joke that serves to highlight the mental instability that they have in the lore. It's an entertaining small interaction that's easily overlooked due to being at the edge of the map and the nightkin's invisibility that makes it hard to spot them from afar. In Camp Searchlight on the southern reaches of the map, spies of Caesar's Legion detonated a nuclear device that released enormous amounts of radiation, resulting in the death of the inhabitants of the town along with the NCR army garrison stationed there, or in their transformation into feral ghouls, with the only exception being the trooper Kyle Edwards. Kyle can be found in a house in the southern edge of town with its entrance surrounded by rat scorpions. Desperate to leave but with nowhere to go at the same time, he fears more exposure to radiation might turn him feral and that the NCR will not take him back for being a ghoul. The house we can find Kyle in is in a position that makes it difficult to see we can enter, being surrounded by similar inaccessible houses and the door only being clearly seen if the player arrives at Searchlight from the south, while most arrive from the west or the north. On the northern edge of the Vegas' ruins, there is a small shack where we can find the self-proclaimed most dangerous couple of the Mojave, Sammy and Pauline. They both stole the hats and the weapon that belonged to Vicky and Vance, a criminal couple from before the war, in preparation for a heist that would make them known across the wasteland. Pauline came up with a plan to rob the casinos of the Strip, a plan with an obvious disregard for the security present in the Strip and that the player can convince her to not carry out. This couple is in one of the least visited parts of the map that has nothing more than a few inaccessible houses spread out along a few roads, inhabited by nothing more than some raiders and mutants. Besides the fact that there isn't any landmark or map marker that will direct the attention of the player towards their small shack. By the road leaving Goodsprings, there is a man called Barton Thorne near the town's water source that asks the player to help them rescue his girl from a pack of geckos that corner her in a nearby ridge. After clearing the path along the ridge and reaching its end, there is nothing more than a few skeletons in what appears to be a gecko nest near a scenic overlook with a small stash of supplies. In that moment, Barton runs up to the player to apologize for having tricked them, telling them he needed someone to clear the way to the stash. Afterwards, he becomes hostile and attacks the player. What I have noticed is that most people simply keep following the road out of Goodsprings, not noticing Barton because there is multiple rocks that obstruct the view from the road to the small camp Barton is located in. The quest Harlock Blues takes us deep within Vault 34 to solve the issue of contaminated water affecting the surface caused by a leak in the nuclear reactor of the vault. The same leak that left it irradiated and either kill or turn its dwellers into ghouls, but not all of them. A few managed to stay alive, although trapped due to the lack of power to open the doors. Upon reaching the reactor, the player can redirect the small amount of energy the reactor still produces to help them escape. What most people don't know is that after they leave Vault 34, the dwellers can be found in Aerotech Office Park, and you can even have a small conversation about the vault and how they are adapting to life in the surface with one of them. These dwellers are often overlooked because there isn't really that many reasons to visit Aerotech. But still, their existence adds to the feeling that our decisions have a visible impact on the game world.